I watched EVO as a viewer this year, which was great because, as everyone knows, there was a lot of controversy with EVO in the previous years, even with the cancellation of EVO last year, and we didn't have EVO. And I remember last year, this time, or before this time, people were talking about, is this the end of EVO forever? And it was like this kind of debate online, back and forth between people who were like, well, we don't even really need EVO. We have these other tournaments we can go to. It's not we kind of treat it like it's the WrestleMania, the FGC. Some people are like, it's not that big of a deal because we have these tours now with the Capcom Pro Tour. I believe Smash has a tour now. Tekken has its own world tour. So a lot of people feel like that EVO itself could be phased out over time. But coming back this year and watching as a viewer, I was like, nah, ain't nothing like it. I saw that crowd for every tournament this year, and I was amazed how many people were there. It was crazy, the energy. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like, the main tournaments I watched this year was like probably MK11, the grand final situation. I was rooting for Rewind. Rewind got in a situation where he had to go against two twin brothers in losers finals and grand finals. Two twin brothers who played the same character, both from Chile. That was a very weird grand finals, just for that reason. He ended up losing, and jumping from Chile won the tournament. But I remember just rooting for him that whole time because it was such a weird situation he was in. And the Tekken Grand Finals, man, in the moment when I was watching Tekken 7 towards the end, there was nothing on this earth more than I wanted to see the rematch between Arslan Ash and Nee because of all the history they had at previous EVOs. Where Arslan Ash beat Nee consecutively at EVO and EVO Japan one year. It was like a big deal. Then Nee went to Pakistan to train with them and learn how they play Tekken. Because Pakistan is now really here in the FGC, especially with Tekken. Like, they are dominant in Tekken. So he ended up fighting Khan, I believe, in the grand finals there, and he took it home for his first Evolution Championship, which is crazy for a guy who's been around so long. His first Evo Championship in Tekken 7, anyway. Wow. In Tekken 7, his first Evo Championship ever. For a guy who's been around that long, that's his first one. So that was pretty amazing for me. I also got to see, some new stuff with Multiverses being a new game on the scene, a new free-to-play game, and people kind of, I know some people talked about this earlier this year too, is like, there's been kind of this debate about free-to-play fighting games and how they would fit in the FGC. Some people feel like they didn't want the elements that come with free-to-play fighting games, such as like, microtransactions, a huge casual fan base, the wireless warriors, as we know. People don't like the wireless warriors. They be here all the time. But I think Multiverses is kind of like surprising us in a lot of ways. I've been playing a lot recently myself, and I will admit that watching it at EVO specifically, it was a little hard to follow, but people seem to be kind of hyping into the matchups in 2v2. So I'm happy to see that this community is growing and people seem to like it, and I hope to see more from Multiverses in the future. But overall, just watching players that I love to watch, Sonic Foxes, the Rewinds, the Knees, the Daigos, in tournament brackets, and just watching them over again, seeing Street Fighter at EVO, because for me in my college years, Street Fighter was always like, I know Marvel was the main event for some people. Street Fighter was always the main event for me. I'm not even a Street Fighter guy, but watching it felt like the main event every time it was on stage.
Man, it was kind of both of them was dumb hype.
They were both hype, but I don't know. Street Fighter always felt like it was the main event. Like, we here. Because they were having on last sometimes in some EVOs for a long time. Street Fighter 4 especially did that a lot. But yeah, so it was good to see it back again. The energy from the crowd was there for all the tournaments I watched. It was a big outpouring of people there too. It just felt good to have EVO back. I will say, of course, the controversy that's happened with EVO, we can't overlook the things that happen. Things with sexual assault allegations, and problems with people having issues with EVO overall. Maybe certain communities not getting represented the way they want to. Obviously, the lack of Smash presence now is very strange. That's very weird not to have that at EVO because it's still a big community as well. But overall, I still enjoyed the event. And I'm happy to see it back.
Keem, you might want to turn down your volume a little bit. It sounds like you're peaking.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I might be too excited.
I adjusted it on this side, so okay. But just to make sure on your side, because it will sound like that loud spark still. But actually, I looked up Knees EVO record, and Keem's right.
You found out I had no record. I've never
Keem's
been
right partially. He won EVO in Tekken Tag Tournament 2 back in 2013, and he won EVO Japan in 2018 in Tekken 7. So this is his first Tekken 7 EVO title in America.
Yeah.
So yeah, also you brought up the point about a lot of people were actually talking about how EVO might not have been needed. You went over some points, but another point was basically when Sony took over EVO, a lot of people were saying like, "Oh, it's just a different game now. It's nowhere near grassroots and stuff." So
right.
we even count it as a FGC event. So you're definitely right with that, and it is great to just have it come back. You know, that's just a lot of thoughts people start having when it was the pandemic. We hadn't had tournaments in a while. You know, we kind of live in a "what are you doing for me right now" generation. So, a lot of people were kind of like, "Oh, all this is happening since the last EVO. We might not need them at all." So, I'm sitting there talking about Keem, and I'm peeking myself. But, yeah. So EVO for me was just, I mean, I couldn't really dig into it how Keem did because I was actually like a part of media. So I was going around taking photos, trying to rush from here to there. You hear a loud noise over here. Let me run and see what's hype over there. And the venue was huge. So it's just like, man, you couldn't really just sit and digest like a regular person just there just trying to consume the event. My mind was just totally on like, I got to get this, I got to get that. What would be good for this brand? What would be good for that brand? What would be hype social media content? How I do this, how I do that, and trying to live update. So I really couldn't like sit down and digest it like that. But as far as like just being there, I mean, I've never been to Vegas, so that was a new thing for me. It's crazy how huge down to the strip is, and like basically when you go into those hotels, everything connects. I was freezing in Vegas the whole time, even though I'm in Vegas and people are, how are you cold? It's like hot all the time. Well, that's because if you were basically staying in like 3 or 4 hotels on the strip, like you could never go outside and basically get to everywhere you need to go. You could get to food, you could get to EVO, the event, you could get to basically anywhere you wanted to go, and you would stay inside. Like everything's just connected. So I was cold the whole time. I mean, freezing at EVO. Didn't think I needed to bring a jacket just because we stayed in central air the whole time.
Right.
So that was crazy. I packed, shorts and all that stuff, and next thing you know, I'm freezing. So that was unique. Everything was mad expensive. I can remember paying like, I think I paid like $32 for a burger and fries one time.
Wow.
Like, and if you're stuck on the strip, like if you're not willing to take an Uber out somewhere, or your friend got a car, y'all can go somewhere and stuff like that. Like, I paid $38 for like a breakfast that was like chicken and waffles, a biscuit with gravy on it. It was $38.
Wow,
bro.
Yeah,
no way.
So it was crazy, how expensive stuff was being on the strip. And with being somebody who flew there, you didn't have a car. It's like, if I'm gonna take an Uber to go somewhere to get some food, then take an Uber to come back, I might as well just stay on the strip and like bite the bullet. So that was another thing, just learning how expensive stuff on the strip is. There's literally casinos everywhere you go in Las Vegas. From the time I got off the plane and you come out of the terminal to your left, it was straight slot machine. Like from the every step you make, everywhere you go in Las Vegas, there is slot machines and somewhere for you to gamble. In the airport, every single hotel lobby has gambling, like its own casino. Every single hotel lobby. So that was unique. But just getting away from Vegas, EVO was great. I mean, the finals day to be in that arena, like a literal like arena, like concert arena and stuff you go to for like any type different types of shows. It was crazy. It didn't ever get to a point to where it was totally 100% full, like packed, because some people like, hey, I come for this game, then I'm dipping. Other people like, okay, this game is at this time, I'm coming in for this. So it's like constant in and out traffic. Nobody really stayed for like the entire time. And also, I mean, food was expensive there too. So I'm pretty sure people was like, I don't really like Street Fighter so much, so I'll just leave, go to my place, get some food, chill out, come back when Guilty Gear is going on. So yeah, Evo was dope, man. It's so much stuff I could say that I just don't want to sit here and spend this whole time doing the podcast talking about this one subject for me just being there. But it was great making business connections and stuff like that, networking, talking to different people. I met NYC Furby. He gave me a connection to come in and actually cover the NA versus EU because that actually wasn't in the venue. It was actually in a hotel suite that they rented out, and they've got MSI to come and bring all this equipment and stuff like that. And they ran the tournament like that, and it was like different people packing into the hotel suite and stuff like that. So it was kind of like, you got to know a guy that know a guy that know a guy to get you in. And I basically just hit up Furby and was like, because, he's really engaged with our content in the past. And I was like, hey, man, you mind if I come through and cover it? And I saw him. He was like, yeah, man, you could come through. I give you the suite number right now. So
Nice.
It was pretty dope. Meeting different people. I actually had people come up to me and just be like, you're TVFGC? Man, I love the work. Or, I had, I don't know if you guys know Phil, of course, he's like he's popular in FGC TikTok. But I was walking, I just kept hearing in the distance like TVFGC. And I'm like, I'll turn around and he's like trying to catch up to him. He was like, man, I love your work, man. Like, you're one of the OGs on TikTok. We love your content. I want to talk with you guys about doing some. So it was great, like meeting different people and experiencing that, people coming up to you and that just actually being like, man, I like your content. So that was really dope. So we go keep putting out more content. So but yeah, so I know you said you were not able to watch EVO. You had family matters going on. So
Not the TV show, y'all. No Urkel.
Shout Urkel.
So